midsummer book haul. I love doing book haul videos, but they make me kind of depressed about all the money that I spent. I will say though, this time around, I didn't buy most of these books. A lot of them were gifts, some of them were sent for review, and a lot of them were borrowed. So I'm very excited. I have 16 books to talk to you about today. I will say I can't remember exactly what all of them are about. I will try to give you a little sentence on each. I won't go into great detail because this video will be long, but a lot of them I don't really know. First up is a book I borrowed from the library, and that is When I Hit You by Mina Kandasamy. I hope I said that right. This one is about a woman who is very self-driven, who falls in love with an academic professor. He pushes her out of the life that she's accomplished for herself and tries to keep her as a kept woman. When she tries to retaliate, things get violent. As far as trigger warnings go, obviously there are abuse warnings. I've also heard that there are rape warnings in here. I am very much looking forward to reading this book. I hope I can get to it by the end of the month. If not, I'll be squeezing it in during the booktubeathon or in August. If you've seen the first part of my July wrap-up, you know that I read Shiver by Maggie Seawater, and I loaned that from a friend of mine, and she has also loaned me the next two books, Linger and Forever by Maggie Seawater. This one follows a girl named Grace who 6 years ago was pulled off of her tire swing as a kid and was attacked and bitten by wolves. She was saved by a wolf, and she keeps contact with this wolf. It also follows a boy named Sam who happens to be this wolf, who also happens to be a human, which means he's a werewolf. This is a werewolf romance story, people, and I gotta tell you, I'm not a huge fan, but I am continuing on with the series because I started a series, so why not finish it? I've been actually listening to them mostly on audio and reading them a bit as well, which sort of helps. But I have things to say about the second one, Linger, guys. Keep out for my next wrap-up video because I got stuff to say. Next up is another book that I borrowed because it just looked like it could either be absolutely fantastic and intriguing or just really awful and boring. But that is How to Teach Quantum Physics to Your Dog. This one's by Chad Orzel, and I've heard that it's exactly what it says. He teaches quantum mechanics to his dog, who can talk back, because obviously this book needs a talking dog. I have to read this one. I don't think I can read this one in one go, because I am not a quantum physicist, and I don't think that I could possibly understand quantum physics. But if a dog can understand it, maybe there's hope for me. Next four are books that I purchased for myself. The first one is The Binding Knife by Brent Weeks. This is the second book to the Lightbringer series. I did a spoiler-free speed review for the first book, The Prism. I'm excited to read this one. I am a little disappointed that this is the paperback edition, and I tried to send in a complaint about it because I ordered the bigger one, but they say that this is the edition that I was supposed to get, which means that they falsely advertised on their website. I'm not a happy camper. But I like the first book, The Black Prism. I had some serious issues with it, which you will hear about in my spoiler-free review. But I am hoping that they kind of resolve themselves in the second book. It's going to take me a while to pick this one up because this one's over 700 pages long and your girl doesn't have that much time. Next up is The Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This one, I have to be honest and say I'm not entirely sold on. I bought this one because everybody has been reading it and saying wonderful things on, but I'm not entirely intrigued by it for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna read it because it's probably gonna be fantastic. But this one, I guess, is West African based. But other than that, I kind of forgot what it's about because, like I said, I just wasn't interested in it. So I'm gonna go into this one semi-blind and I'll let you know how it goes. The last book for my first purchase in this book haul was Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. I just did a spoiler-free review for this one that went up on Tuesday. This one follows a girl named N who comes from a finishing school, and she is sent a letter from her mother who was out on a business trip that says, if I'm not back within 2 months, I'm probably dead. Go find this boy named Levi in the city of New Rains, which is also known as the City of Sin, who may or may not be able to help you find me. New Rains is like our Las Vegas. It's full of casinos and mafia and gambling and sex and all kinds of stuff like that. And that's not really a place for this finishing school person, but she does find Levi and they go on this adventure to find her mom. I did enjoy this one a lot. I did have some issues with it that I did talk about in my review, so if you want to know more about that, then go check that one out. And then I was so kindly sent Wildcat by J.B. Harker in exchange for a honest review, and I am really excited to read this one. This one is inspired by Iron Age Wales and Imperial Rome. That was a lot to get out for some reason, and that in itself intrigued me. I will be reading this one and doing a review for it in the month of August. Keep your eyes out for it. It is a chunker of a book, so it might take me a little longer than I expected, but I am very excited. The next book I was sent by my mom because she wanted me to read it and do a review, and that's The Timekeeper by Mitch Albom. I actually have already finished this one. I've previously read The 5 People We Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. This one follows a man named Dor and starts way at the beginning of time, and he is obsessed with numbers and measuring things, and he's figured out that he can pinpoint a specific time of each day, and so he starts to measure time. he ends up being punished by God and he turns into Father Time, and it's all about timekeeping and how we keep track of time and how important time is to us in our society. I really enjoyed this one. I actually have to film a review for this after this, so I need to get my act together and figure out how to explain this book better. But I did enjoy this one. Keep your eye out for my wrap up and for my review to find out more about it. Along with The Timekeeper, my mom sent me a couple other books because she's fantastic. The first one being The Iron King by Julie Kagawa. This one follows a girl who finds out that her dad is actually a fairy. More than that, I don't know. But I have been into fairy books lately. I've been wanting to get my hands on all kinds of them. I'm hoping to be able to read a whole bunch and then like at the end of the year do a fairy recommendations video. We'll see if that happens. Anyway, this was the first fairy book that came in that shipment. Another fairy book that came in with that shipment was The Treachery of Beautiful Things by, who's this by? Ruth Francis Long. This one follows a girl who 17 years ago watched her brother disappear into a tree. And 17 years later, she's still looking for him. She goes back into this forest again and she disappears into a tree. She ends up in fairy and she has to navigate this fairy society, which is very cruel and wicked and sounds interesting to me. It does sound a little, all of these fairy books sound a little bit YA tropey, so I am prepared for that, but I'm still interested in fairy books, so maybe I can forgive it. The last fairy book is Ink Exchange by Marissa Marr. This is the second book to the Wicked Lovely series. Wicked Lovely follows a girl named Ash who's come from a long line of people who can see fairies. She's always been told by her grandmother to ignore them, not to look at them, not to draw attention to herself. It's always worked until she's met by the Summer King, who says that she's supposed to be her winter queen. Ashlyn wants nothing to do with becoming the summer queen, but unfortunately, she doesn't really have a choice. There is one big catch to becoming the summer queen though. You have to pick up the winter staff, and if you pick up the winter staff and you are not destined to be the summer queen, you will inherit winter's chill for all of your days until the next potential summer queen comes along. I like this one well enough. I want to continue on with the series, see how it goes. This will be my deciding factor if I want to continue on with it or not. It is very tropey, it is very YA, but it was a cute, easy read. I had nothing against it, it just didn't blow me away. So we'll see. This one is significantly thicker than the first book, but I'm curious. Next up is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is another one that I initially wasn't really interested in, but I kept hearing about it, and the more I heard about it, the more it intrigued me, so I'm gonna give it a go. This one takes place in a world where humanity has conquered sickness and death and all the tragedy things. It's basically a paradise, except nobody dies anymore. So there are now scythes who have the responsibility to kill people off, and it follows two people who are scythes, I guess, and I don't know anything else because I don't remember. But I am intrigued, and I know that the second book was even better than the first one, so we'll see how that goes. Next up is the book that I am the most excited about to have, that I am in the middle of right now, and even though it's not my cup of tea, I love it, and that is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hong. I don't know what to tell you. This book, I'm not like a huge contemporary romance fan, but this one intrigued me. It's about a girl named Stella, and Stella has Asperger's, and she is really struggling with human contact, human relationships especially. So she hires Michael, who is an escort, to teach her, I can't even give this review without laughing because it's just comical, to teach her how to interact in a relationship and sexually. And so it follows Michael and Stella, and obviously attractions form, and I can't stop laughing at I never thought I would say that I find an escort endearing, but I really do. I do. I might have to do a review on this one as well, but I anticipate finishing this one within the next day because I can't put it down. And the last up on this book haul is Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. I plan on reading this one for the Booktubeathon. I mentioned that in my TBR, I think. And this one, again, I don't know a whole bunch about, except it's about three biological brother and sisters who find each other. More than that, I don't really know, but I have heard great things about it, so I am excited to read this one. Alright, those are all the books in my book haul. That was a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't yet, I would love for you to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye!